In this video, I'm going to be building the ultimate market district in my Minecraft Forever world. After the last episode, the settlement is pretty much complete, so now it's time for us to expand. I may very well have gotten a bit carried away with this project, but if you ask me, it all ended up being super worth it in the end. This is by far the biggest individual project I've ever taken on in Minecraft, so sit back, relax, hit that like and subscribe button of course, and enjoy the video. Ladies and gentlemen, welcome back to yet another episode of our Minecraft Forever world. Now, initially, that's not what I was going to be doing with this world, and it's not what I planned on doing with this series. I wanted to leave myself very open to different possibilities with the channel. I didn't want to immediately dedicate all of my time to just one type of content. But after we got everything done that we did in the last episode, I think that is what we're going to end up doing. I think it's possible you guys may see different kinds of content every now and then, like 100 days videos from me in the future. But with that being said, this Forever world, I'll go over here and show you guys a little bit of the work that we've been doing off camera. Now, I initially recorded the intro of this video before I got any of this set up, but my recording settings were wrong and everything got screwed up, and it's hard being a YouTuber, okay? I'm just learning. But with that being said, I did do about a 4-hour stream today and started a bridge connecting the main area of the base to what we're going to be building in this video. Now, if you caught the end of the last video, you'll know that I wanted to build something on the top of this mountain, and that is a market district. Obviously, we call it the cul-de-sac of commerce because that's a cool name and I like it. But yeah, all this blackstone here right now needs to get chopped down and replaced with tuff, and then we need to do the same thing with both the other pillars as well. Right, so the first thing we need to do is hop on our happy gas here. We don't have the other one here at the moment because I was building a bunch of iron farms over by spawn and still ended up failing to get one working even when I'm not there. So that's awesome. But the first thing that we need to do is put a bunch of blackstone underneath the bridge here, because this obviously isn't how we want this to look in the end. And we need to get an idea for where we're going to connect the pillars up to. So let me get that done really quickly. Now, I did unfortunately lose the flashback footage for this part of the video. I downloaded this mod. It's basically like a Minecraft multiplayer mod, and I had to port all of my mods that I currently had downloaded over to a separate file on the same version of my fabric loader. Now, I really don't know why any mod would work like that, and I'm pretty annoyed about it because I lost all of the flashback footage that I had from like the day I started this world. It is truly a heartbreaking tragedy. I really was planning on going back and using that stuff for future cinematics and stuff like that to really nostalgia bait, for lack of a better term. But yeah, man, it's all gone. We're starting from scratch. In terms of this video, I'm glad it happened sooner rather than later. The quality of the video will not suffer from here on out. But yeah, I basically just lowered the outsides of the bridge by a couple of blocks downward just to make it look a bit more structurally sound. Alrighty, and I would say that is looking pretty perfect. I'm happy with how that's shaping up so far. So let me go get that done on the other side really quickly here. And so I quickly went over to the other side of the bridge and did the same thing, brought everything down by a couple of blocks, and that was that. Okay, alright, yeah, that looks mean. That looks sick. Big fan. Oh, by the way, if you guys didn't see the recent video, the long play that I posted a couple days ago, or a week or so ago, as of me posting this video, I built a cute little barn house the other day for a long play. So if you haven't checked that out, definitely go ahead and do so. I love how this house ended up turning out. I was so skeptical about it through about 90% of building it, but that last little 10% of terraforming and detailing on the sides of the roof and everything like that, the clay pots ended up working really well with the mangrove roof. But yeah, ended up turning out really well. I'm happy with it. Go check out the long play. After this, I went underneath the bridge and basically just covered it up with a bunch of blackstone. Oh my god, these creatures are the fucking worst, dude. I genuinely can't stand them. This will give us something to easier connect the pillars to, and that's what we're gonna be doing next. Just like that. Dang, dude, this is starting to look really good. It's starting to take the shape of a bridge much more compared to what we had at the start of the video. Yeah, look at that, man. Look at that. We're like 5 minutes into this video and we've already built something super cool. Let's go, dude. This is sort of how I want these videos to go from here on out. Obviously, the first couple episodes, we had withers to fight and ender dragons to kill and elytras to acquire. So typically the videos have had about a half hour of, you could say, fluff. But now we don't really have any of that to do. Most of our time in these videos can sort of just be dedicated to building cool stuff. And honestly, I'm down for that. Anyways, as you can see, we now have a bit more of an idea as to how we're going to connect the pillars to the bridge. So that's why I wanted to do that first things first. first. And I think I might break out a couple of blocks up here eventually and replace them with tuff just to give a little bit of variety to the color of the bridge, because we're going to be doing the same thing with the top half of the pillar as well. So, all right, so the next thing I think we're going to do is with all this deep slate that I have in here, we're going to go fire up a live stream really quickly, and we're going to do a retaining wall around this entire hill. Now, I am doing things a little bit out of order in this video, but that's just because I'm kind of getting under a bit of a time crunch. So if you guys are ever interested in catching the live streams, you can absolutely head on over to the Twitch channel, twitch.tv/brandnewmc. Or if you don't feel like going to another platform, that's totally fine, because I do live stream right here on the YouTube channel as well. So I will see you guys after this stream, and once we have a retaining wall over on that mountain over there. Alright, so I just got back from repairing all my tools, and we definitely needed to do that because that was one heck of a stream, man. Let's go ahead and fly back really quickly, and we can take a look at just how this retainer wall looks. And yeah, as you can see, this thing is looking absolutely deadly. Not just because of how much the wall transforms the look of the whole area, but because of this deep slate tile as well. It's looking so good, man. And it goes together really well with the Blackstone, so I think that's going to be the main blocks that we're going to be using throughout this build. But the other block that we're going to be using a lot of is tuff. And if I was to go and show you over in my starter base over there where we keep all of our stone materials, there would probably be about a stack or two of tuff in our tuff storage. So we have to go get some more of that really quickly. So let's go ahead and cut to the time lapse of that. Actually, let me grab my beacon first. So I broke down my beacon and took it to a cave where I started looking for some tuff. Eventually I found quite a bit and broke out a big enough area to put my beacon down. Got everything set up in that regard and basically went to town filling a shulker full with tuff and also my entire inventory. So we should be good in this regard for quite a while. All right, so now that we got all that sorted, we got plenty of tuff. We're gonna have to take quite a few stacks of this over to the bridge and finish off what we were doing over there. All right, so before we get started on the pillars, the first thing I want to do is actually add a little bit of depth and a little bit of additional color to this part of the bridge here. I think I'm just gonna use polished tuff. And then I'm just gonna put some polished tuff behind here, just like so. And then what we'll end up with is this extra bit of depth and extra little color pop on the bridge. And I think I'm gonna really like how that looks in the end. I'm also not regretting using Blackstone and tuff together at all, dude. I am really liking this block combination. Let me get this done in a time lapse really quickly for you guys, and then we will get onto the rest of this. We will get onto the pillars down below. Yeah, I think that looks pretty good. I'm not a big fan of like the asymmetrical nature of it, like how it's basically the middle right there, but as you go out to the sides, it's not in the middle. I don't know if I explained that as best I could, but visually speaking, you get what I mean. But yeah, aside from a few minor imperfections, I think that's exactly what I was looking to have done on the bridge here. So let me go ahead and do that on the other side really quickly. Oh, that's a problem. Go on. Get out of there. Oh my days. Nah, this isn't even cool, dude. I'm just gonna fly away real quick because that's absurd. I'm not even dealing with that. We're not dealing with that. And they're gone. Perfect. That's life. That's life. And I can't deny it. As funny as it may seem. My. You know what? I'm gonna put that song on. If commentary makes it in the video while the song is playing, so be it. I don't care. Wow, dude. I mean, I hate when it rains in the game because it does it all the freaking time when I'm trying to record. And that lightning you just heard really wants to burn my barn down. But, isn't that pretty? Oh my goodness, I love Bliss shaders for this kind of thing right here. The reason I've been acting so cold. If I could escape, create a place that's my own world, favorite girl. Listen, the boys need to listen to this song, okay? Sometimes, all right? We could make it better. Tell me, boy, now wouldn't that be sweet? Woo-hoo. Oh, baby. Time's getting a little crazy. Waiting for you to come save me. Alright, now it's time for us to move on to the long procrastinated task of me getting these pillars done. I gotta be honest with you, man. These have been kind of difficult. The other day on stream, I kind of rage quit stream because they were just causing me such a headache. Once I get this one design done, it should be easy enough to get the others done because we won't even have to fully replicate the others. Because whatever we end up coming up with for this design will kind of end up crashing into the bottom of the bridge anyways. So we won't even have to fully recreate this design. We just gotta get this one done and working for the height and the proportions and everything like that. So I have to start by tearing this pillar down to look exactly like that, and then this pillar over here, it looks a little bit weak compared to the other two, but as you can see, I have one block sticking out the top of all of them, and that's basically just to mark where I'm going to be starting to build from. That's marking where I'm starting this design from, and all three of those blocks are going to be at the same level. So let me break this down really quickly and get this pillar looking like the other ones. Let's get it started. Running and running, 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 running and stand. This is the f***ing vibe. Let's go. Hell yeah. Everybody, let's get into it. Get stupid. Let's get it started. So let me run into the barn house over here. I'll actually show you guys the interior of this barn house. Actually, let me start by showing you the interior at the bottom because me and my girlfriend designed this interior the other day. I brought her into my world because I have absolutely zero skill with this kind of stuff whatsoever. And I think this turned out really good. What do you guys think? Let me know down in the comments. Scale of 1 to 10, what would you rate this interior? I will be sure to report the feedback back to the creator. But then up top, we got a cute little interior. Nice place for me to come sleep when I'm working on the bridge. Couple of places for me to put some extra things if I need to. And that's about the same thing on the other side as well. It's no $5 million New York penthouse tour or anything like that, but it's nice, right? It's cute. It's cozy. All right, back to work. So make a bunch of these. Now, this transition from Blackstone to Tough is going to look pretty jarring at first, but once we do the actual Blackstone trim around the upper part of the pillar, then things will blend together a little bit more seamlessly. So just trust the process. I know I have to as the person building it, so I'm going to have to ask you guys to do the same thing. Okay, and that is one side of one of the pillars done. And now you guys can sort of start to see what I was going for. And I think that that looks absolutely great, especially in contrast with what we did with the top of the bridge as well. With that being said, let's get to a time lapse of me getting these other two pillars done because I'd say it's about time we get started brainstorming this market district. I did mention earlier in the video that I'm going to be building a gold farm and a magma block farm in this video. That's actually insane. I don't want my videos to be 2 hours long anymore. All the metrics I have from the last couple of videos that I have posted that are 2 hours long is that people like longer videos, but not not that long. That's the simplification of what my metrics are telling me. So I'm gonna make my videos a bit shorter going forward. And so in an effort to achieve that goal, I'm gonna save a gold farm and a magma block farm for a separate video. And I think we could actually make a really cool build and thus video out of that. So we'll save that for another video. But with that being said, I got some more pillars to design, and yeah, let's get this out of the way quick because I think this is gonna look absolutely amazing. Okay, so I'm incredibly sad. Our happy gas just died, and I wasn't recording or anything, but I'll place you down in our infinite water source here. And now I got about 20 minutes to wait for our little construction helper to be back in action. I can't believe we lost Fry, bro. Okay, I decided to move our fella just down the hill a little bit so he has a little bit more room to actually emerge into this world. All right, and just like that, we got a happy gas back, and I gave him a magenta harness this time. I don't know what we're gonna name him yet. If you guys have any names for the new Happy Ghast after the loss of our beloved Happy Ghast Fry, he has been so useful, vital, I would say, in the construction of a lot of this base. So, in memoriam of Fry, we are going to have to make sure we get a good name for this guy. So, let me know your name suggestions down in the comments below. All right, and just like that, I have every side of each pillar done. It is time for us to get into detailing them. This is definitely going to bug me that I didn't check first. Okay, so where I started building the pillar up from here was at 103, or well, I guess I should say Y level 103. And over here, both of these pillars, I started building up from Y level 105. So that's why they look a little tiny bit different. But I'm done with my perfectionist ways. Obviously, I want to have good content for the channel and for you guys to watch and stuff like that. But when it comes to just the little things like that, this looks amazing, okay? And we haven't even lit it up yet. So now that it's nighttime, it's actually going to be perfect time to do that. Let me go grab a bunch of lanterns real quick. All right, so what I decided to do for the outsides of the bridge here to get a little bit of lighting in is add another layer of these polished tough blocks. So I need to get my hands on them still. I don't remember where I put them, but once I do, I'm going to put another layer of those in there, and then we can put some lighting right here just like so, and right here just like so. I can jump back over here and fill this all up with polished tough. Once again, more in here just like so, and there we go. Now we got some lighting on the bridge over here. That looks really nice, actually. I like the look of that a lot. So now I got 3 more sides to go do that on, and I will go do that really quick. Okay, so check this out. We got some copper bulbs in each of the pillars now. I think this is gonna look absolutely amazing at nighttime. Let me just take a step back and get on some solid ground here. Yeah, that looks awesome, dude. Let's go light this up really quickly with a redstone block. Come here, fella. Don't got a name for you yet, but come here. So what we'll do is we'll take this lantern out of there. Okay, yeah, I'm really glad I had that idea. And while I was doing that, I actually had another idea. I'm wondering if we could keep this cool little design that we have on the outside of the bridge on both sides, but maybe for the inside, we could take out one of these layers. I don't know, because it wouldn't be totally symmetrical. But what I was thinking is we could take out one of these layers of polished tough here and replace it with just one strip of copper bulbs, or maybe even sea lanterns to mix it up a little bit. And that would give like a super futuristic look. Well, not a super futuristic look, but just a little bit of a futuristic look to the build, kind of like the tower over there. Right, and just like that, unfortunately, we got a bit of a sunrise on the horizon. I'm gonna fix the shape over here. I'm not a big fan of that. Maybe we'll just add in another slab, or maybe even a stair. But yeah, that's what we're working with. I'm pretty happy with that so far, man. Let me go grab some pots and some flowers, and that'll pretty much be the finishing touches on this build. All right, so here's what I was thinking we were gonna do with some flowers. We'll just put a clay pot right here, and then we'll put another flower pot in there. I don't know what the different names are for these pots. But yeah, we'll stick some blue orchids in there. Gonna have to throw some tough stairs just like so, and then some blackstone stairs just to give us something to work with. Clay pot, and a blue orchid. Oh, maybe on this, maybe we'll actually do it like this instead. I actually really like that, getting a little bit more flowers, a little bit more color in there, because I completely forgot we were going to put in the copper bulb design over there. So yeah, let me do that really quickly as well. Let's just back up a little bit, take a look really quickly, and yeah, that adds a nice little pop of color. Maybe we'll even come up here and add a flower pot just like so as well. This is where we're going to come in with the glow berries. I'm going to put one right here, and I don't know if we'll need any more there on the inside actually. Perhaps we could go a little crazy toward the center of the bridge underneath, just to give a little bit of like an overgrown look. Alrighty, and just like that, that is a finished product, and I genuinely could not be happier with that, dude. We'll go take a look at it from the other side in a second here, but both sides look the exact same now. I think a little bit of a lush aesthetic looks really great when you use like gritty dark blocks like this. But yeah, this is the bridge from the other side. I think it's looking absolutely fantastic. We have one more part of this bridge left to do, and that's do something with the top walkway here. But after that, we can move on to starting to plan the market district over there, which I'm really excited for because I have so many ideas to do on that market district. So many different ways to make it all flow together and look nice. I'm so excited. Okay, so yeah, it's taking a lot of bamboo, but does that not look amazing, dude? I am super happy we didn't end up going with a massive roof. I think it would have had its uniquities. It would have had its, you know, charm. But nah, this looks great. I gotta go strip these logs over here, but this is looking sick. All right, and that is officially my second trip now to the bamboo jungle, so we should have enough to finish things off. But as you guys can see, this is looking great. This is looking freaking great. I'm gonna have to make a bamboo farm, man, and like a really complex one, because I can already tell I'm gonna end up using a ton of this block. But there we go. That's a nice little stock of trapdoors. Let's finish off what we were doing before with them. I forgot one right over here, and this is what we're gonna see most of the time, so let's fix that really quickly. And yeah, dude, I think this bridge is for the most part done. If I do anything more to it, I'll probably end up doing it off camera, but I'd like to get on to the rest of the video. Alrighty, and just like that, we've got a nice little path outlined all around the area here. If I pull up the map, you can see I haven't quite completed the entire path yet. That I will finish by the end of the video. We have this path to connect over to here. This is going to be sort of like the main trade route. This is going to go all throughout our world. This path here, it's going to be like the central highway. And then over here, we have this small little path basically for foot traffic, regular citizen travel. And this is going to connect all the way through here. And maybe by the end of the video, we'll do something down in here as well, because this is pretty empty, pretty barren, other than, you know, obviously the barn situation that we got going on over here. So let me give you guys a little bit of insight on my vision for this project, okay? So all the grass that you see behind me, most of it, I should say, is going to get replaced with pale moss. If we take a look over here on the side of the path and over here as well, I've outlined a couple of builds that I'd like to do. And the idea that I have for these is they're going to be 3 to 4 stories tall each. And they're going to be basically so tall that they're going to be blocking out the sun for most of the day. We also have this central building over here that I don't know if I'm going to do this or not yet. I might put a bamboo farm in there just because it's a bit of a bigger build and I can fit a really efficient one in there. So maybe we'll do that, but I just don't know. I don't know if it fits with the vibe. Actually, I know it doesn't fit with the vibe, and that's why I'm skeptical on putting a bamboo farm in this house. We might use it for something else. Other than that, we might do a custom tree right here. Actually, we definitely will do a custom tree right there because I've never built a custom tree before, and that's absurd considering all the stuff we've built in this world. So we are expanding our skill set with this project. As you can see in the distance, actually, you can't see it in the distance, but just over the horizon right there, we have a pale garden. So I'm going to run over there real quick and get all of the materials that we're going to need, which is going to be an absolute megalithic abundance of moss in particular. We're also going to need the hanging moss as well, because that's going to go all over the place in this build. And yeah, enough of my waffling. Let me get a shulker. I think this one's empty, and then we will go to the pale garden. So I spent about 15 minutes absolutely destroying the natural environment of the nearest pale garden, and I filled about a shulker and a couple of slots in my inventory and brought that back to our workstation over at the future market district. All right, so I think the first thing we're gonna take on is this custom tree. So I'm gonna replace all this grass with pale moss, and I'm also gonna do the same thing in a couple of different areas as well, like over here and also over here as well. I think we're gonna build a graveyard on both sides of this, just in the very corners of the mountain over here. I think that'll be a nice little feature to have to the dark, dingy style that we're going for. But yeah, I'm gonna replace this patch of grass over here with pale moss, this patch here, probably get these two corners done, and I will see you guys when it's all done. Alright, so now that we got that all sorted out, I'm gonna have to go get more pale moss, and thinking about how much I'm gonna have to go through for this project is it's gonna end up being quite a bit. So I'm also gonna need a ton of pale hanging moss as well, so I think I'm gonna make 2 farms really quickly, just do a little bit of a sidebar in the video, simply because the amount of these 2 materials in particular that I will need will far exceed what it's worth for me to continuously make back and forth trips. We've already taken out like half of this pale garden over here, and that's actually a pretty big one. There's another one over here not far from the base, but other than that, there really aren't that many around here. So I'm not gonna push my luck, and I'm gonna make a farm sooner rather than later for these things in particular. All right, so I'm not gonna lie, I am absolutely seething right now, bro, like foaming at the mouth. I'm not happy. I did everything right. I followed the video step by step, word for word, block for block, and it's not working. Like, this thing is it's inoperable. It will never run. It is I could think of another million buzzwords for not working, but I'm so annoyed, bro. I'm going to bed. Hello, good morning, everybody. Okay, so I did go to bed. I went to bed, but before I did so, I tore the whole thing down, and I'm probably just gonna move it over a little bit, just over here. I don't know if it's a problem that I was doing this on an area that was already basically a bunch of pale moss. That might have been the problem. I also might have done the redstone wrong in like 1 or 2 spots. That was literally my first time doing anything with redstone, so I got my morning coffee, so I think it's time for us to get to attempt number 2 of this moss farm, and I'm probably gonna go fire up a live stream to build both this moss farm as well as the pale hanging moss farm. So I will see you guys after this stream is done. So I spent the next couple of hours right here on the YouTube channel, as well as over on twitch.tv/brandnewmc, completely rebuilding this pale moss farm from scratch, building a hanging pale moss farm as well. We also got up to a couple of other miscellaneous activities as well. So if you guys are ever interested in seeing this forever world come together, then definitely drop by the live streams one of these days. I do live stream every Monday, Wednesday, Friday from 2:30 p.m. MST to 5:30 p.m. MST. All right, now if I did this correctly, putting a lever here is going to activate this farm, and just like that, we have infinite hanging pale moss. Wait, I wasn't even holding down left click, bro. Okay, so I guess we gotta be careful in that regard. But it's because I'm insta breaking a block in front of it that sometimes, yeah, it causes it to break. And if I just keep breaking it out, is that gonna cause issues, or can I just leave that like that? Cool, just like that, we turn it off and the observers are no longer touching. Okay, cool, this has been a nice little crash course on redstone. Getting in there, rolling my sleeves up, and actually using a little bit of redstone in my world. Now, as far as the moss farm goes, this is the issue that I keep running into, is grass keeps growing down here, but not just grass, also carpets. And that literally just stops the farm from working. So if I activate it really quickly here and get the thing running, then we will see that moss does come up a couple of times in a row. So there's one time, let's see if it goes a second time. No, it's not even gonna go a second time. No way. Okay, yeah, there we go. That's the perfect example for me to show you guys. It literally just stops after 1 or 2, sometimes 3 or 4 times of bone mealing the moss up below, but it's really annoying, and I guess it's gonna have to do for now. But if anybody knows how to fix this issue with moss farms, definitely let me know, because I'm not really seeing anybody talking about this issue with moss farms. And yeah, I could use a fix to this one, because I'm not probably gonna use a ton of pale moss after this area, but I know I'm gonna be using a ton of moss. So yeah, let me know if you know a fix to this farm down below. Anyways, even though this is only a semi-functioning moss farm, I'm very happy with both of these farms. Like I said, it was a nice little dip of my toes into experimenting with redstone. But with that being said, those two farms don't actually solve my pale oak leaf issues. So let's go ahead and grab some leaves. Leaves? Which is it? I don't know. All I know is I need a lot of them. So let's get to work. Alrighty, and just like that, we have a couple of shulkers full of pale oak leaves. But as you can see, my tools are getting pretty low, so we're going to have to pay a visit to our Enderman farm. We have done a lot of work in terms of gathering materials in this video. So yeah, we're getting pretty low on these things. But with that being said, while I'm building this custom tree, I may very well end up building the frame of this build that we're going to be building as like the centerpiece of the market district, which is going to end up being a clock tower, like a super tall clock tower. This one I'm really excited for. I only had this idea halfway through recording this video, and I think it's going to end up looking really cool in this world. And I think it's going to fit really well with the whole style we're going with for the market district too. Alrighty, and just like that, we have got one massive custom tree. And I genuinely could not have anticipated this turning out as well as it did, dude. I am so happy with the end result here. I've literally never built a custom tree in Minecraft before, and then I just churned this out. Like, what are we doing here, dude? We do still have a little bit of work to do on the underside, and we also have to light it up as well, because the design that I actually based this tree off of, well, that it was actually very heavily inspired by, to be more specific, it does have quite a bit of lighting underneath as well, and in that design, it uses end rods, but we're going to be using soul lanterns. And the reason we're going to be using soul lanterns is because, well, we're going to be using soul lanterns all over this area. That's basically going to be the only lighting that we see around this area. And like I said, this tree design isn't a unique design of my own. I actually used a creator's design by the name of Kiki. Basically, I really like the shape of the tree that I saw in this video. And so the trunk is basically a one-to-one recreation of it. And the reason I did that is because I needed a very particular shape if I was going to have a big tree here. I needed to make sure that any branches extending over the cul-de-sac area here, the little circular path in front of what's eventually going to be the clock tower, didn't end up crashing into the clock tower. So I was very picky with what I wanted here. And when I found this, I knew it was going to be perfect. But with that being said, if we fly back a little bit, we can take a look at the upper part of the tree here. I did come up with pretty much most of the shaping of the leaves that kind of hang over the branches here. Obviously, it would be really hard to follow a block by block tutorial when it comes to leafing up an entire massive tree like this. So I was kind of left on my own in that regard. But once I got the general pattern of how to make something like this look natural, it went by pretty quickly, as you guys saw from the time lapse. So I will link this design down below if any of you are interested in putting something like this in your world, this is an absolutely beautiful tree, and I take zero shame in having essentially copy pasted it, aside from the leaves like I said before. Because once we get everything filled up on the bottom here, make that look a bit more natural, and get everything lit up, this is gonna look absolutely beautiful, and it was literally exactly what I was looking for. So sometimes you just come across the perfect design, and it may not be fully yours, but it will always have your own unique twist. So keep that in mind for your own forever world. Sometimes that design that you see on Pinterest or on a YouTube tutorial, sometimes it's just the one, man. All right, so as you guys can see over here, I've been doing some experimenting with some connected housing. So this is the rough idea of the buildings that we're going to have sort of all around the market district. I really don't like the colors that I did here. I'm not going to lie. I really don't like the crimson here. The orange is okay with the calcite and the diorite. I had to come over here to get my happy gas really quickly for the rest of the tree. But when we do get buildings like that built up around the market district, they're going to have a lot more purpose than those ones do. This is just a little bit of testing for me. Plus, I needed some buildings to fill up down here. I'm going to replace a bunch of blocks over here. I'm not going to lie. But man, the settlement is really coming along, dude, especially once we get the market district in over here. This is actually looking like really crazy. I'm not gonna lie. Also, we finished the gray wall the other day as well. There's still work to do over there, but we got everything lit up, and I think it looks really cool over there. I have settled these lands. Alrighty, dude, and just like that, we got a beautiful sunset for us to roll on into the night and see just what we got as the end result here. I ended up taking out some of the glass blocks and wool blocks. I went a little crazy with them, and they're really only supposed to be very minor detail blocks. I had too many in before, and it was just taken away from the shape of the canopy that I ended up getting. Lately, I've been using BSL shaders a lot, but as the sun starts to fully set here with bliss shaders on, you guys can see just how blue these lanterns glow. The lighting in bliss shaders works a little bit funky, and that's why I haven't been using it so much lately, but it can make for really cool effects like this. Look how pitch black it is right as we come outside, just because it's so bright inside, and then we come out into the dark, you can see just how blue it is over there. Now, mind you, I just grabbed the materials that we need to put in the lamp posts that we're going to be putting in all around this area. So I'll start by putting one right here. I will put one right here, one right there, and also one right here. So let me get up on each of these, get a couple of fences on them, get our wax copper trap doors in there, and then we can hop down below with our soul lanterns and put one down there as well. And we have light. I may very well change those out from having a wax copper trap door and then a hanging lantern off of it to just a sea lantern at the very top with trap doors all the way around. I've been messing around with a lot of different street lantern designs lately, and so that's one I might go with down here, just to mix the lighting up a little bit. It'll still be blue lighting, of course, but I think that's too many blue lanterns. But yeah, I'll change that out later. For now, with all of that out of the way, with all my waffling out of the way, it is time for us to build a clock tower. Right, so if I just take a step back, you guys can sort of start to see the height that I want to go to with this clock tower. Now, I know that seems kind of ridiculous, but there's a method to my madness, okay? The reason I decided to go so exorbitantly tall, even though this is going to be about the size of the clock face that we have up there, it's not going to be massive, and I might actually make it just a little bit bigger than that. But with that being said, the reason I want to extend it a little bit and make it go up so tall is because I like having staple builds in my world, you know what I mean? Over there we have the windmill and the tower. You could say the starter base is maybe a bit of a staple build, but I would say it's less so than at least those two builds. And I think it's going to be important for us to have a staple build in the cul-de-sac of commerce now that we're expanding the settlement. But as I was saying, there is a method to my madness, and that method is I'm going to destroy the paths on either side of the clock tower. I'm going to extend it just a little bit. Instead of 13 by 13, I'm going to take it to either 15 by 15 or maybe even 17 by 17. And then I'm going to make a grand archway that cuts all the way through the clock tower, and we'll have a nice pathway that gets us in and out of the cul-de-sac of commerce. I think maybe on either side of the archway, we'll try and do something in terms of interior, like a way for us to actually get up the rest of the clock tower. But with all that being said, I am going to need at least 3 shulkers of deep slate, and I have basically none. So I'm going to have to go spend a couple hours getting deep slate, but don't worry, you guys won't have to wait too long. So I headed down into the depths with a couple of shulker boxes and started chipping away at deep slate for about an hour. By the time all was said and done, I had about 4,000 or 5,000 deep slate ready to go to build this clock tower. Really quickly, I just wanted to take a moment in this video while we're gathering this deep slate to let you guys know that I do have a Discord community if you're interested in getting a little bit more involved in the channel, keeping up to date with the content, that kind of stuff. If you're interested in joining, we would love to have you. Check the link down in the description below and come on over. All right, so yeah, I wasn't recording my audio, but we got the foundation extended and the paths taken out on either side of the tower foundation. Like I said before, we're gonna have a path going straight through a nice grand archway through the middle of the tower here. That path will probably be 5 blocks wide, so we could actually just kind of go like that right now. just sort of get an idea. Yeah, that's gonna look sick. Imagine like a 10 block tall archway going all the way over it as well. That'd look sick. But yeah, I extended the foundation of the tower because I ended up deciding on going 70 blocks tall. And so we learned over with the barn house there that the wider you go with the build, the taller you have to go with it, and vice versa, to get the proportionality and the scale of everything correct. And yeah, if we just fly back, we can see that that 17 by 17 is probably going to do us a lot better with a 70 block tall structure than a 13 by 13 one would have done. So now that I got this all figured out, there's really not much left to do to set the foundation for this. I think it's about time that we actually get into building this tower up, and I hope you guys enjoy the cinematic. I've really been going all out with those in this video, so let me know what you guys think of all that down below. Anyways, enough of my waffling. Let's build a clock tower. Alrighty, and just like that, we have officially got the body of the tower done. Now, I know it's looking a little barren, a little bit bland right now, but we are on our way over to fix that really quickly. The top section of the tower there that you can see jut in just a little bit, that's where we're actually going to go put the clock part of the build right now. So let's go ahead and do that quickly. All right, so basically what I'm going to do is I'm just going to cut out a big square in every side of this part of the tower really quickly. Then after that, we'll get some slabs and stairs in the corner and try and round it out very nicely. And then from there, we're going to go around with a bunch of pale oak just like that and strip it up nicely, and that'll give us a nice color for the clock. So let me take care of this really quickly, and I will get back to you guys when we are finished. Alrighty, and just like that, we got the face of the clock tower done on all four sides. Like I said before, we're going to round it off on each corner as well, but for now, I brought some Blackstone buttons with us, and I figured we could put those in on each side to sort of represent where we're going to be having the numbers on our clock. Okay, we're off a little bit. I thought I was going to be like a master at eyeballing for a second. Well, I was in my youth days, if you know what I'm saying, if you know what I'm... Alrighty, I think those are centered. Just for reference, this is me standing on one of the faces of the clock tower. This thing is freaking huge, dude. Alright, so I'll be honest, I'm not sure exactly how the time lapse is going to turn out for this because, yeah, well, I'm probably overthinking it. It'll probably turn out fine. But yeah, this is what we have so far. For the first floor, we just put in a couple of windows. We got some sea lanterns in there, and we added some depth with a couple of different blocks extending outward and some stairs, adding some extra depth inward. Other than that, we basically copy pasted that, but on a smaller scale on the next. And on this level here, we're going to do one big tall window. I'm not sure exactly how wide it's going to be, but we'll figure it out as we go. Now, I haven't got this done on every other side of the tower yet. That's why I'm saying I'm not sure how this time lapse is going to turn out. I'm kind of doing things out of order, but obviously that's not taking away from the end result. Here, I'm still doing a little bit of iteration. I'm not exactly sure what we should put in there. But yeah, with that being said, this is just me cutting in because I'm second guessing myself and I'm not sure exactly how the time lapse is going to turn out. And with just how they've been going so far in this video, I'm kind of holding myself to a high standard now. So, oh yeah, I also finished the clock as well and put in some sea lanterns so we can see it at night. Alright, I'm just finishing filling up the floor on the very top level of the tower here, but I think we have a finished result. Alright, we got that done. And I mean, come on, dude. The vibes up here are absolutely immaculate. It's giving me super, like, gothic, almost Greek vibes. I love this, dude. But if we just take a fly back, we can see that we got the roof done. I'm honestly kind of regretting using just deep slate, but I'm not going back. I'm not going to tear anything down now. This is my first clock tower, and I went really massive with it. So not only was it a learning experience, but it was also, like, a lot to take on for a learning experience. So I'm happy with that. This is going to be a really cool staple build for this market district. But it's not just the roof. I would say, for the most part, this clock tower is completely finished. We got a couple of levels of windows, and going into this build, I had absolutely no idea what colors I was going to use, but I ended up going with some copper, some acacia trapdoors, and some shelves, and some mangrove trapdoors as well. You can never go wrong with mangrove trapdoors, in my opinion. One other thing that I like that I did is I put some sea lanterns in certain levels of the tower behind some pale oak fences, and I think that just ended up giving a really cool effect. It lights it up a little bit, but yeah, I don't know. I really like the look of that. All in all, considering a couple hours ago, we just had a very basic rectangle protruding like 80 blocks into the sky and nothing else, I'm pretty happy with that. I'm not gonna lie. Alrighty, and just like that, we have got all the outlines done for all the builds that we're going to be putting in this market district. I really like some of them that I did, like this one over here that kind of bends around the road. I still got a couple areas that I need to fill in over there, but for the most part, that is the entire market district mapped out. That looks really cool. Again, just a quick little honorable mention. I really like the diagonal buildings that I decided to try and go with here. Obviously, I haven't got them built up or anything like that, but yeah, this is going to be a lot of buildings. So basically, the next couple of days of my life is going to look like streaming, material gathering, and building a bunch of connected housing. But honestly, it should be a blast. So for you guys, it'll be a lot quicker than that. And within the next couple of minutes, we should have a full-fledged market district. The first thing I knocked out of the way with this market district is actually putting up the frames of all of the different builds. One reason I did that was because all of these builds ended up being connected builds, obviously, but also because this just ended up being such a massive project that I kind of had to go step by step like that. After I finished getting all the frames up for all the builds that we're going to want in the market district, it was time for us to start actually building these builds. When I tell you guys that the last 10 to 15 minutes of this video took me over a month to make, I wish I was joking. So if you could leave a like on the video, I would really appreciate it. But anyways, let's finish this market district. Alrighty, dude, and just like that, we have an entire market district built. This is probably 20 plus buildings. I'm not gonna lie, I bit off a bit more than I could chew with this project, but I'm really happy that we ended up getting it finished. As you can see, I did throw in some lampposts all the way up and down the road going through the market district as well, and I replaced all the lanterns that I put in while I was building all of the separate builds with soul lanterns. And to be honest with you, I'm thinking about extending the road all the way out to each building, because in a medieval town, right, they would usually have cobbled roads basically all throughout the city. They wouldn't have tiny patches of grass like that, or in this case, pale moss. So I'm thinking I might add that as a detail as well. But one other thing that we're going to need to do is go around adding these sorts of details in on the rest of the builds that I didn't while I was building everything. And we're also going to need to grab some shelves and some trapdoors and some buttons to make everything look super nice. Add some depth, add some color to all these builds. Then after I get all that finished, I'm actually going to be bringing my girlfriend into the world to help decorate the interiors of all these builds and help me move villagers over, because I don't want to do that by myself, quite frankly. I'm going to be employing the help of somebody that's actually decent at decorating interiors, because I'm absolutely not. And as you can see over here, we do have a couple of builds that I framed out that I didn't actually finish, and some road that I didn't fill in. And what I'm going to be doing with this area is actually gifting this district to my girlfriend for helping out with the interior decoration of the entire market district. Because in my society, slave labor laws haven't quite been introduced yet. We're a relatively regressive society in that regard, but her efforts will be acknowledged with a gift of land, of course, which I will be taxing into the ground. I swear I'm not a bad person, okay? Alrighty, and just like that, I would say we are looking a lot better. At certain points throughout this build, I was feeling like this was looking a little bit soulless, a little bit mass reproduced. Obviously, building 20 buildings all at once, it's gonna end up looking like that to start, but now I'm happy. I'm happy with how this is looking now. I think if I was really to take my time on each build, we could make this market district look even better, but with that being said, I'm happy with how much I've been able to do and how cool I've been able to make all of what I did. Look, typically I'll spend ages like I did over on the barn house over here, just making the whole area around the builds look amazing and the builds themselves, and I'll spend hours just doing small builds. And you can definitely tell that these builds lack that same effort, but I'm still happy with them. So with all that out of the way, now it's time for me to bring my girlfriend into the world so that we can actually get some interiors decorated and get some villagers working in some of these market buildings. One other thing that I do want to mention really quickly is that my girlfriend does have a Minecraft YouTube channel herself. She's working on her first video right now, so if you guys are interested in checking out another small Minecraft YouTuber, then definitely check out the link in the description to her channel. Anyways, let's get to interiors. Okay, so we got quite a bit of work to do, Hanny. We got quite a bit of work to do. I said I wasn't gonna call you Hanny. Hannah. Okay, so I highly doubt that we're gonna be able to get all the work done that's required for every interior fit in this video, but if you guys are interested in catching the interiors, I will be bringing her on the live streams over the next couple of days, and we will be decorating interiors. But for now, we decided on this building over here being a pub, because the top floor works really well for that. I know one of them is going to be a library. I know this building right here is going to end up being like the central bank. We're going to get to work on decorating the interiors here. Let's do it.
Let's go.
Wow, playing Minecraft with headphones on is crazy. I can actually hear the sounds of the blocks being placed.
I always have headphones on. Always, always, always.
Nerd. So we have a little bit of work to do. Obviously, there are a bunch of interiors here that we're not going to be able to get to all in this video, like I mentioned before. But we have a little bit of work to do outside of interiors. So you see I have a road over here that I haven't quite complete yet. So we're going to have to complete this road.
You're giving me a road?
No, not a road. Yes, the road, actually, but not just the road. It's these builds over here that we're going to have to build together. These are going to be your builds. There's 1, 2, 3, 4 separate buildings here, and this is going to be your very own district in this city. So a way I've found to sort of incorporate you into it, you'll be able to move whatever villagers you want in, you'll be able to, you know, create whatever shops you want, and yeah, this will be your sort of like economic zone in the market district. Alrighty, and with the last time lapse out of the way, are you ready to go do the reveal of your district, Henny?
Yes, I am ready.
Alright, let's go take a look. Alright, and as we start to bend around the corner toward Hanny's district, we have some lamp posts lighting up the whole area. We bone mealed up all of the pale moss, which she can do whatever she wants with. I obviously removed pretty much all the pale moss from my area of the market district and just did a bunch of cobbled roading. Roading? Is that a word? Cobbled road. Henny's gonna have to get some more lanterns hanging from the top, obviously, just to get the whole area lit up a bit more, but we're gonna be taking care of that stuff over the next couple of days. I really do appreciate all your help, Henny, and with all that out of the way, that is a finished product of the market district. And with that, we have officially finished the market district and thus made it to the end of the video. This was a lofty project and it took me over a month to make this video, so if you guys would mind leaving a like and consider subscribing if you're new around here as well, I would really appreciate it. And if you did make it to this point of the video, then you may very well be interested in knowing that I recently joined an SMP. The name of the server is Everlast SMP, started by a creator known as Might and Stone, and I also created a second channel, which will be the first link down in the description below, where I'll be posting quite frequent content on that SMP, as well as other various types of Minecraft content that don't quite take as long to make as my videos currently are. Thank you again so much for watching, and I will see you all in the next video.